What is the best year in video game history? You could say it was the year that Tetris was created. You could say the year Mario 64. And if you're 5 years old, you might say the year that Angry Birds was created. But I think we're going to find out by reacting to the 15 best years in video game history and see what their take on the matter is. We may disagree with it, but there's only one way to find out.
It can be defined by consoles, franchises, and companies, but for some it can also be defined by years. If one were to mention a specific 12-month period, die-hard gamers will be instantly transported to their favourites from that time. Now, the million-dollar question, which years are the best for the games industry?
My opinion, 2007, the greatest year for gaming of all time. Let me take you back to 2007. The year starts, it's a bit of a slow start, but as it trundles on, we see some of the greatest game releases ever. BioShock, the original Mass Effect, the original Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty 4, and how could we forget? Halo 3. And I think there was a Mario game that came out then too, which, you know, that's great too. The greatest year in gaming history. That's my take. Any whether it is wrong.
Well, I'm Cy for WhatCulture.com, and these are the 15 best years in gaming history. Number 15, 2002. Once the
What happened in 2002?
PlayStation 2 and GameCube were all released, the heat was on. The PS2 may have conquered its rivals in terms of sales, but one cannot deny how every system had plenty to offer, especially
Saying it conquered its rival in terms of sales is such an understatement. The PS2 destroyed everything in terms of sales. This will blow your mind, I swear to God. The PlayStation 2 sold 155 million. Next up was the Nintendo DS. The Nintendo Switch is actually so far up there. I was not expecting that. Jeez, that is surprising. Then you got Game Boy. The next closest, PlayStation 4. Oh, Xbox. Oh, Xbox. Oh my God. I didn't realize how badly Xbox has actually been doing. The best Xbox has ever done is half that of PlayStation 2. That is depressing.
Especially in 2002. The GameCube had an astonishing collection that year, including Metroid Prime, Wind Waker, Eternal...
Oh, Wind Waker. But when that came out, people weren't super happy with it, though. That came out and people were like, why has this Zelda got color in it? I want a Zelda that's gritty, a Zelda that's grimy, a Zelda that has murder in it. Why does a Zelda green and shit?
Darkness, Animal Crossing, and Resident Evil Remake. Mere months after the Xbox was launched, it dropped Splinter Cell, Morrowind,
nice.
and Tony Hawk's Pro Skater
Morrowind.
4.
Oh, dude.
Meanwhile, put out Ratchet & Clank, Sly Cooper, and of course GTA Vice City.
I can't deny that is a very strong lineup. I used to love Ratchet & Clank. Sly Cooper is basically Ratchet & Clank if you're cringing like stealth games instead. And then Grand Theft Auto Vice City. It's probably one of the best Grand Theft Auto games of all time. Underrated. People always talk about San Andreas. Vice City was where it's at.
With the release of Warcraft 3, Mafia, and Medieval Total War, everything was coming up roses for PC.
Ooh, okay. Medieval Total War laid the groundwork for a great series, but the game itself wasn't that good. Medieval Total War was like, meh. It's like, meh. Great, meh. Kind of meh.
Number 14, 2004. In 2004, all eyes were on the PC.
Oh, Half-Life.
After a grueling wait, Half-Life 2 landed on the scene, picking up every gaming award you could possibly imagine. But PC gamers were spoiled for choice since World of Warcraft was released just 1 week later. Simply put, this open-world title from Blizzard changed MMORPGs forever. Its focus on...
This almost changed my life forever. I have a sad tale. When I was young, I bought World of Warcraft so I could play on my family's PC. You know how you used to have one PC and it was in your living room and you had to all take turns working it, and then if the phone rang, you would get disconnected from the internet? That was the PC that I tried to install World of Warcraft on. I had spent my own money on it, I had saved up for ages, and when I went to play, it wouldn't work. The game just wouldn't open, and it never opened. So I never got to experience World of Warcraft, which in hindsight may have been a good thing. I think that if I played World of Warcraft, my life would have went down an entirely different trajectory. I think I probably would have turned out something similar to Asmongold, but I didn't, and now I'm here.
On character progression and team-based raids helped WoW become one of the most addictive games of all time. And if you were a console gamer, you didn't really have to worry either. Back in 2004, there was something for everybody. FPS fans had Far Cry, Unreal Tournament 2004 and Counter-Strike Source. Racing fans got Burnout 3 and Need for Speed Underground 2. Remarkably, tentpole AAA franchises The Legend of Zelda and Metal Gear Solid both...
Dude, The Legend of Zelda's art scheme there, art style, looks so much better than any other game from this time period. Like, some stylistic choices are just timeless.
Titles. And of course, this was the year that Halo 2 was mainstream news as it set launch day records for not just video games, but entertainment across the board.
Dude, Halo 2 coming out, biggest launch of the century.
Number 13.
Actually, well, not the century. Obviously not the century, but biggest launch of the year, easily, by far.
92. Street Fighter 2 is looked back on as the supreme ruler of the fighting game genre of the 90s, but did you know that it was only uncontested for a year before Ed Boon and John Tobias unleashed Mortal Kombat onto the world? Due to the digitized sprites, finishing moves, and boundless gore, MK was making a killing, no pun intended, at the arcade. Sega continued to rival Nintendo this year, bringing Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which improved on every aspect of its predecessor, and other gems like Streets of Rage 2, Echo...
Do people actually think Sonic games are fun? I thought it was like a joke. Oh, Echo the Dolphin! Yo, underrated gem. I'm so shocked that that's even here. I used to love Echo the Dolphin when I was young.
Dolphin and Road Rash 2. Rather than tossing out another Mario platformer to stay on top of the competition, Nintendo devised a racing spin-off starring the mustachioed mascot. Super Mario Kart proved to be a triumph. It was also a monumental year for PC owners due to the release of Dune 2. Not only was this a fantastic game, it was the first recognised real-time strategy title. Command & Conquer, StarCraft and Warcraft owe their success and their very existence to this underrated classic. Number 12, 20.
Alright, that may have laid the groundwork for a lot of stuff in the future, but I wouldn't say that beats out 2004. Straight up, Halo 2 washes every single one of those games. The games that came after, like, it was pretty foundational for what came after, but let's be honest. And now we got 2011. All I remember from 2011 is Skyrim. In fact, I think Skyrim hard carries 2011. You don't even need to mention any other games.
11. With the benefit of hindsight, it's
dude, Portal 2?
2011 titles had a staggering influence on the industry. Dark Souls popularized the Soulsborne genre.
Dark Souls as well?
Noir pushed motion capture to the brink. The Binding of Isaac perfected the roguelike shooter formula. On top of that, Minecraft became the best-selling video game in history.
No, okay, 2011 should be way higher. Skyrim, Minecraft, Dark Souls, Binding of Isaac, that's ridiculous.
With the successes of Dead Space 2, The Witcher 2, Uncharted 3, Deus Ex Human Revolution, well, it seemed like every sequel at the time was knocking it out of the park. Having said that, this lot live in the shadow of 2011's magnum opus, Elder Scrolls V Skyrim.
Straight up.
You instinctively think of Skyrim when you hear the word open world, and maybe even 2011 in fact, goes to show how insurmountable its legacy is. With its well-designed, illustrious visuals and innovative character perk system, Skyrim never stopped wowing audiences.
God, I remember when Skyrim came out. I got it the day before it released. I was one of those guys, man. I got it delivered the day before it released. I went home to record videos because, yes, I opened my YouTube channel in 2011. I went home to record YouTube videos. I made the worst videos of all time. This is my first ever Skyrim video. Look at this. Look at this, the 10th of November, 2011. You can literally hear the excitement in my voice.
Holy shit, guys. What is up? It's patterrz back, and we're gonna start something new right now. I'm so excited for this. Oh my god, I've been waiting this for a year. Oh yeah, finally got Skyrim. I got it a day early. I don't know if I'm gonna post it on, today. Oh, fuck it, I will.
God, it's so cringe. Oh, I was so bad at making videos. I'm marginally better at making videos now, but my god, this was... Dude, I was just so excited to play it. I was genuinely shivering from excitement. Like, you don't understand. I was an Oblivion simp through and through. When this game dropped, it was like if you rolled 10 Christmases into one day.
1994. In the early 90s, it looked like Sega had a decent chance of replacing Nintendo as the granddaddy of gaming. However, those concerns were put to rest in 94 when Nintendo literally upped their game. Donkey Kong Country's magnificent pre-rendered graphics, smooth gameplay, and focus on hidden secrets re-established the tie-wearing ape as a top-tier franchise. Although Final Fantasy has revolutionized the RPG genre time and time again, the 6th installment is still regarded as a wonder to behold. Earthbound may have not garnered much praise at the time, but it's now viewed as the Super Nintendo's most underrated title. Also, Super Metroid. Enough said, right? Now that's not suggesting Sega wasn't bringing their A game. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 and Sonic & Knuckles proved the original 2D Sonic series went out on a high, but there's no question it was the year when Nintendo came back swinging. Number 10.
Nah, I'm not convinced. None of that makes that year better than Skyrim Minecraft Dark Souls year. Straight up, that should have been like number 2. Super far up there. No way it's better. I don't know if they have these ordered in terms of how good they were, but no shot it was anywhere near as influential.
1990.
Or I guess you could be influential, but it's nowhere near as impactful. Is there a difference there? I think there's a difference there.
No matter what genre of game you love, 1991 had you covered. There was adventure with A Link to the Past, puzzle strategy with Lemmings, beat-em-ups had Streets of Rage, and also there was Battletoads, the game you love.
Yo, Battletoads!
Measure. But there were 2 titles that deserve special mention. Despite coming out over 30 years ago, Street Fighter 2 is still the template for versus titles. Capcom's
That's fact, actually. It is true.
3-round matches, projectiles, grappling, special moves, counters, combos, and
This is the big dick daddy of fighting games. There is no fighting game without Street Fighter 2. This is what everything modeled off. Every video game that was fighting after this basically became a ditto and used transform to look at Street Fighter 2.
Yelling your attacks out as you perform them. 91 was also the year where Sega unleashed its secret weapon upon the world, Sonic the Hedgehog. With the simple controls and blinding speed of our hero, it was impossible not to be in awe of Sega's new mascot. The fact that modern gamers are still virtually downloading these decades-old games demonstrates how influential they've been. Number 9, 2017.
Okay, sure. Alright, what happened in 2017? The only thing I remember from 2017 was Breath of the Wild came out. I think Mass Effect Andromeda came out and everyone was like, stinky.
The abysmal failure of Nintendo's Wii U, gamers were skeptical about its successor, the Nintendo Switch. Fortunately, Super Mario Odyssey and The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild
2017 saved Nintendo. My god. 2017 basically used a max revive on Nintendo's finances. It's Fortnite year as well? That's huge.
Was released, it was lavished with universal praise, and having both of their biggest mascots come back in the same year was huge for Nintendo's re-emergence. But the Big N wasn't the only company that had a return to form. Resident Evil 7 rejuvenated Capcom's Zombie Saga. Cuphead became one of the biggest indie releases
Cuphead,
ever.
yeah.
Royale titles made a massive comeback thanks to PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds. With so many good games, it would be easy for new IPs to get lost in the shuffle. Fortunately, that wasn't the case with Horizon Zero Dawn. After playing this mesmerizing open-world adventure title for a matter of minutes, you knew it was destined to become a huge franchise in Sony's portfolio. Number 8, 2000.
Alright, I mean, that's fine. I straight up just think 2017 was Nintendo's year. They got battered when the Wii U came out. They got smacked. Oh my god, they were probably so depressed. It's essentially the equivalent of a YouTuber getting 10 out of 10 videos for 3 years in a row, where you just go down and down and down and down. Anything else from there is just like, it's fine. It's not as good. It's not as impactful. But 2001, this is huge. Halo year. Boom. Done.
2001. In 2001, it seemed like all gaming franchises had stepped up a year. Although Super Smash Bros. Was a satisfying beat-em-up, Smash Bros. Melee proved Nintendo could contend.
Oh, Smash Melee came out in 2001. That is huge. Halo and Smash. That is massive. Did Sunshine also come out in 2001?
With the big boys. Despite the fact that Metal Gear Solid set a high bar, MGS2's bar went beyond the stratosphere in terms of stealth, fighting mechanics, plot, and relevant social commentary. Silent Hill 2 was so astounding and petrifying that many gamers still refer to it as a perfect masterpiece, and its effect on storytelling and gaming is still felt today.
I can't take it seriously if people are calling it a perfect masterpiece. I'm not much of a horror game person, but I think it's really funny that people are calling it a perfect masterpiece when you have just Pyramid Head having sex with 2 weird decapitated nurses in the background. This is the peak of horror gaming. You see that? You see Pyramid Head's big schlong going into sexy dead nurse? This is a masterpiece of design.
It still felt
I just think that's so funny.
Final Fantasy X immediately stood out since it was the first entry to implement skill trees, conditional turn-based battle, and voice acting. However, no franchise reinvented itself better than Grand Theft Auto. GTA 3 didn't just improve on its predecessor, it blew it out of the water. Even though
I love GTA 3 so much.
Were still there, this threequel now boasted a massive plot, a plethora of missions, and a gigantic open world to explore. Fear not Microsoft, as their debut console had a glorious start this year with one of the greatest launch titles in history. Halo was a monstrous success, almost single-handedly securing Microsoft's future in the gaming industry. Number 7.
No! What? 2007 is number 7. I was going to talk about Halo for a bit. How Halo literally saved Microsoft completely, saved the Xbox 100%, and just caused the Xbox to become like a worldwide phenomenon just because of Halo on the back of one game. 2007 is number 7. This is the greatest year in gaming history. Again, dude, they cannot be ordering this by the actual goodness of the year. There's no way. But they're ordering it in terms of like number 7 is this. So it must be.
Although 2007 wasn't the peak of gaming, it probably spawned more
No, it was. You're wrong. You're wrong. It was the peak of gaming. You're wrong.
successful franchises than any other year. Think about it. This was the first time we performed parkour around cities in Assassin's Creed, warped around test chambers in Portal
as well.
There was no tomorrow in Rock Band, tossed a coin for The Witcher, waged war against the Reapers in Mass Effect, hunted for treasure in Uncharted, and faced a big daddy in BioShock. Even though 2007 was defined by brand new IPs, that doesn't mean recognized series weren't giving it their all. Halo 3 and Call of Duty 4 were showered with praise, especially for their multiplayer, and Team Fortress 2 was such a hit it still receives server support from
Team
Valve
Fortress
after
2?
16 years. Since Nintendo had released the Wii the previous year,
Mario
gamers knew
Galaxy?
the Mario installment was inevitable. Not only did Super Mario Galaxy receive universal acclaim, it remained the highest rated game on game rankings until its foreclosure in 2019. Number 6.
No shot. Absolutely no shot. Portal, Mario Galaxy, Mass Effect, Assassin's Creed, BioShock, Halo 3? And it's not... Dude, this is straight up the most influential... maybe not the most influential, but just a list, a plethora, a cacophony of the greatest games of all time. The best franchises of all time. I can't imagine saying that any year is better than this. 1996 is fine. It's also the year that I was dropped as well, so.
Not only did 1996 demonstrate how far video games had come, it gave us a good idea of what the future would behold. Pokemon Red and Blue popularized data transferring between players and reinvigorated the handheld market. New IPs like Crash Bandicoot and Tomb Raider won our hearts and demonstrated the significance of 3D gaming. But let's be honest, you can't talk about the influence 1996 games had on the industry without mentioning Super Mario 64. The Nintendo 64's launch title was a showstopper. Super Mario 64 didn't just make the transition into 3D smoothly, it broke the mold. It was a stroke of genius for the gameplay to focus on objectives rather than reaching a goal, since it encouraged players to explore, and it remains perhaps the most important title for setting gaming's 3D blueprint. Number 5.
Facts. Straight up facts. I don't know why these are so low. 1996 and 2007. I mean, if I had to pick, those would be the top 2. Straight up. I can't imagine any other years being higher than that. Super Mario 64 created 3D gaming. 1996 had Pokemon. Need I say more about that?
5. 2005. Since nostalgia can easily cloud judgment, it's sometimes easy to wonder if we're looking on our favourite games with rose-tinted glasses. But while reflecting on 2005, you can be rest assured the lineup is just as good as you remember. Thanks to Guitar Hero, millions of players became rock stars without having to leave their living room. Because Resident Evil 4 development was scrapped on 4 separate occasions, it looked like Capcom's Undead Saga was in serious trouble. But when the long-awaited follow-up was released, it was regarded as the company's finest work. Although Shadow of the Colossus was hailed as the be-all and end-all at the time, it's actually gotten better over the years.
Why are you firing arrows at the Colossus? Do you really think it's gonna do anything? It's like firing a fly at a human being. I always wondered if my cat looks at me like the people in Attack on Titan look at Titans. Does my cat think that I am a Titan?
When you look at Ico's crowning achievement with fresh eyes, you can see the influence it had on Breath of the Wild, Elden Ring, and God of War. Number 4, 2013.
2013 was really good, let's be honest. This is a fantastic year.
2013 reached its end, no gamer felt unsatisfied. A Link Between Worlds was probably the most innovative Zelda entry on any handheld system. Metal Gear Solid Revengeance's title doesn't make a lick of sense, but it was fun as hell. Final Fantasy XIV, which was released in 2010 originally, was abominable, but the heavily revised A Realm Reborn turned out so well, it redeemed Square Enix's folly. On top of that, the Stanley Parable, Gone Home, Papers, Please, and so many...
Dude, that is such a funny one to have in this. I'm glad that the Stanley Parable is getting some of the love that it deserves.
More proved indie hits could hold their own against AAA titles. However, there are 3 games that perfectly encapsulate how high the standard was in 2013. The Last of Us, Grand Theft Auto 5, and BioShock Infinite.
What? I'm surprised BioShock is going up there with those other 2. The Last of Us and GTA, insanely influential. GTA 5, most money a game has ever made, I'm pretty sure. Maybe if you exclude mobile games. Bioshock Infinite being up there, I'm proud. That's my boy right there. Not a perfect game, not as good as the original, but still my go.
Forget the fact that all 3 of these released in a single year, we got to experience them all within 6 months of each other. Games like this shattered the stigma of video games.
GTA 5 is still being released to this day.
Brainless since they focused more on character-driven narratives. For the first
Actually, The Last of Us is still being released to this day as well, and Bioshock's the only one that's not.
time, it felt like society was starting to recognise video games weren't just a source of leisure, but an art form. Number 3, 1987. By 1987, gaming wasn't just improving, but
Contra?
was evolving. Mega Man was kind of a big
Mega Man,
deal,
alright.
since it was the first game to feature non-linear level select. Final Fantasy saved the fledgling square from calling it quits, and even though it's heavily criticised, Castlevania 2 incorporated RPG and open-world elements like NPCs, maps, and a day and night cycle into a platformer. But that's number 2, 1997. This is
GoldenEye?
a period where every gaming developer and system came out a winner. Mario Kart 64, Diddy Kong Racing, and Gran Turismo dominated the racing genre. Not only did GoldenEye revolutionise first-person shooters and multiplayer, it proved games based on movies could be just as good, if not better, than the source material. 97 is a laundry list of quality, so much so it's almost laughable. Star Fox 64, Tomb Raider 2, Abe's Odyssey, Grand Theft Auto, Crash...
Dude, no one is thinking about Abe's Odyssey anymore. It breaks my heart because I absolutely love Abe, but no one's thinking about Abe's Odyssey. The start of GTA is a funny one because no one cared about GTA when it came out. It was that top-down view GTA. Then GTA 3 came out, it changed the world. Then Vice City, then San Andreas, then 4, then 5.
Bandicoot 2 and Parappa the Rapper earned rave reviews across the board. PC owners were
Parappa the
in
Rapper.
heaven since they had Fallout, Ultima Online, and Diablo to choose
PC users were in heaven because they had Fallout. It's literally a nuclear apocalypse, guys. Come on.
from. And even though Castlevania had always been a respected franchise, Symphony of the Night towered above what came before. It perfected the Castlevania layout and gameplay so perfectly, it's directly responsible for popularizing an army of Metroidvania clones. And of course, there was Final Fantasy VII. The
Oh, cannot forget Final Fantasy VII.
series wasn't just a thoughtless marvel, it showed the importance of cinematic storytelling. It opened the door globally for role players and is still heralded as one of the greatest games ever made. And number 1...
Is it really? I'm gonna be honest, I've never actually played Final Fantasy VII. My first and only Final Fantasy experience was Final Fantasy III for the PlayStation, the one where you start in like these mech suits and you roll around, it's like snowy and you fight a worm. And then another Final Fantasy, which was also called Final Fantasy III on the Nintendo DS, where you walk around with black mages and white mages, and it's a completely different game. Very strange. I think they're both called Final Fantasy III. Never played 7 though. I never understood Final Fantasy. Why are they all different? Why do we have mechs in some and then fantasy in another? Are they all in the same world? If they're not in the same world, why? This is very strange. Are they on different universes, parallel universes? What's going on with that series? Why is it so hard to understand? I understand Five Nights at Freddy's lore better than I understand Final Fantasy. And Final Fantasy has been around for so much longer, and I've played more Final Fantasy games than I have FNAF.
1998. If you were living in 97,
Now we got
gaming
GoldenEye.
had peaked, and of course the following year would have its work cut out for it. But in the eyes of many, 1998's mouth-watering assembly has never been bettered. With the release of Banjo-Kazooie, Crash Bandicoot Warped and Spyro the Dragon, mascot 3D platformers were at their height. 80s kid gamers who had grown up got their hands on Tomb Raider 3, Turok 2, StarCraft, and Thief. But then there's the best.
Is this
of
number
the
one?
best. Metal Gear Solid was the apex of stealth, Resident Evil 2 was the definitive survival horror, Tekken 3 was the zenith of the series, and Half-Life was a masterclass first-person shooter. And just...
Oh my god, this is number 1? Oh, okay, listen. This is not number 1. No shot. I remain unconvinced. Even with Ocarina of Time, even with GoldenEye, there's no shot this is even the most influential year of gaming. In terms of the games that came out, like, it's pretty good. It's not the best games of all time. Why didn't they include Ultra Sun and Moon in 2017? Why the fuck would they put Ultra Sun and Moon in the most influential or best games of the year? I'm gonna be honest. Listen, I'm a Pokemon guy through and through. Ultra Sun and Moon do not deserve a sniff as the best games of the year. I don't think any Pokemon games deserve a sniff as the best games of the year for any year. And I literally do this for a living. They are not up there.
Just as the year was wrapping up, Nintendo released the long awaited Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. This huge risk of bringing Link into the 3D space was touted as a masterpiece thanks to its flawless everything, really. When you look back on the perfect lineup during those 12 months, it blows the mind to see so many stone-cold classics spoiling gamers for choice. And that's the list.
Now, I remain unconvinced. 2007 is the greatest year of video game history. Let me know what you think the greatest year is in the comments.